Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again. Hey, what is going on? Hope everyone had an amazing Easter weekend. Welcome to another episode of Outside the Chute. I'm your host, Randy Frame. Once again, friendly reminder to let our listeners know that the annual Canada Cup International Softball Tournament in Surrey, BC is looking for more youth gold teams in the U19 and U17 categories. The tournament runs from July 10th to the 16th at the world-class facility, Softball City. Currently, there are over 90 teams competing between 5 divisions. There will be over 10 international teams competing in the women's division, as well as a few junior national teams in the U19 division. This tournament offers great exposure to athletes, to college coaches, and to national team coaching staff. This is a tournament you won't want to miss. Visit CanadaCup.com to learn more and submit your application today. Or reach out via Instagram, where their handle is @CanadaCupSoftball if you have any questions. Get in quick on this one. It's shaping up to be a beauty out there on the west coast of Canada, and Softball City will be the place to be. On to this week's guest, and we sat down and chatted with 7-time ISC World Champion, 2015 Pan Am and WBSC World Gold Medalist, and ISC Hall of Famer, the one and only Ryan Wolfe. Wolfey had an absolute amazing career. His list of accomplishments are just ridiculous. As just mentioned, besides the 7 ISC World titles and international golds, he's also an 11-time ISC All World selection, 5-time Canadian Senior Men's National Champion, 2-time ASA National Champion. Do I really need to go on? The guy has done it all. Plain and simple, one of the best to ever play our game. We're going to talk to Wolfey about getting a start in the game, growing up playing in Ontario, joining the ISC circuit in what is arguably the greatest era ever, his induction last year into the ISC Hall of Fame, and much, much more. Wolfey was such a beauty to chat with. I'm sure you're all going to enjoy this chat just as much as Hopey and I did. With that being said, grab that drink, sit back, relax, because here we go.
I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. I can't describe what I'm feeling, ain't never felt this freedom. I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. Ain't never felt this freedom. Could you say that anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes. You want it only real deal hip hop.
Hey, Dick. Hey, Hopey.
Hey, how are you?
You got me on that one.
I did. I apologize.
That's all right.
Okay.
What's going on?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since
back.
you've been down.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Of course, I'm looking forward to this guest we have on today.
Yeah,
I won't say his name yet.
not a bad player.
I'll let you say. Oh, he wasn't
okay.
a bad player. The original Wolfey.
We get back in the dome.
Yes, very excited. We started our skills and drill sessions for U11, U13, U15, U17, and we have 45 kids for our first session. Came out on this past Sunday night. Since then, I've had interest from other parents sending me emails or texts asking if it's too late, and of course, it's never too late to get the kids involved. So we'll have even more for the next session, which is fantastic. It's also very nice to be in the dome, of course, because it gives us so much more space.
Oh, big time.
Although it's a third of the dome, it's still massive, man.
I know.
It's so massive, and being able to put the kids, like the U11 kids, in one end of it and the U13 kids on the other side. It's awesome. The other thing that's awesome about it is we had 8 people helping us last week, including yourself, which was fantastic. Thank you. But a lot of the younger guys from the Mastodons and some of the older guys, which is great as well. So that's fun. We're going to get the best we can out of those kids and keep them highly engaged because we need them to keep playing, obviously.
Yep, for sure.
Your current state of ball in Nova Scotia, it looks like it's getting better coming up, but I know at the U17 level, it's garbage.
Yeah, we were talking about it today.
Yeah, well, I know that unfortunately our East Hants U17 program is probably kiboshed. We only have 6 or 7 athletes. We look to combine with another team, but they didn't want to go for that, unfortunately. So anyway, those kids will all play in our league this year, and we got to keep them playing because that's the next Canada Games age group.
Well, they'll definitely benefit from playing in our league.
Oh gosh, yes, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Actually, funny thing about the skill session.
Yep.
I woke up Monday morning
sore
from
hitting ground balls.
From hitting ground balls.
Jesus Christ.
my hamstring, and my glutes. I was like, what is going? Like,
yeah. It's funny though because you played hockey all winter, but it's different. It's different muscles. Yeah. I won't lie to you. Showing the kids just proper positioning for feeling ground balls.
Yeah.
My fucking hamstrings were burning on Monday morning.
And that's
so stupid.
And throwing overhand.
Yeah. I don't think. I think I might have thrown one ball, but
yeah.
Anyway, the beauty of it is I get to walk around while you guys are taking care, and then I get to critique the kids as we're going along, as well as you guys.
Yep.
But that's what makes it so good is I get to kind of coach and oversee the whole program,
right? And
you guys are running the drills and skills. Yeah. So
anyway, it's fun.
I do thank everyone for doing that for us.
What else we got?
Well, I wanted to touch. So I was in Jamaica just 3 weeks ago, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
We had a fantastic trip. My wife and I really enjoyed ourselves. We went with 2 other couples. Just beautiful people. Food was unbelievable. Beaches were great. Resort, weather, blah, blah, blah. The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did want to touch on one little story. I was my wife and her 2 girlfriends were doing something in the pool. My buddy Dave and my buddy Rodney, they were off doing something, probably necking in the woods or something. Anyway, and I was just standing by our pool chairs, and there was a guy beside me and another guy beside him, and the guy had a Toronto Blue Jays hat on. And so I just, being friendly, and of course I was drinking all day, but anyway,
yeah.
I said, hey, so you're a Blue Jays fan? He goes, yeah, Blue Jays fan. I said, I suppose you're a Maple Leafs fan too. He goes, yeah. I said, well, fuck you. And I sat down. So anyway, I sat down and instantly we became friends because his buddy, his name was Jeff. I was talking to him and he's part of the Belleville Bulls in the past, the OHL team.
Yep.
And so we talked hockey and stuff. Anyway, Jeff was leaving and Jimmy and his wife, or girlfriend, Sherry, were staying. Jeff was leaving the next day. So Jimmy, as we were chatting, he said, I'll probably just hang with you guys the rest of the week. I was like, yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got talking and one of, how everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy has quite a story, and it was very gut wrenching, but at the same time, I was able to relate because of what I've gone through in my life.
Right. So,
in fact, Jimmy's daughter, her name was Alex Sagriff, I think this is the last name. Well, first of all, they host a memorial golf tournament every year for her. What took place was Alex was gone on her senior trip to Cuba with her classmates, her graduating year in high school. And unfortunately, she had a heart attack and passed away in Cuba.
What?
Yeah. Just nuts, right? And Jimmy's telling me this, and of course, it's gut-wrenching because you think of your child.
Right.
But I did promise them that I was going to mention that they hold... they're from Belleville, and they host the Alex Sagriff Memorial Golf Tournament each year in August. This year, it's August 11th and 12th. All the proceeds go to the Mental Health and the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Also, some of the proceeds go to bursaries in her name. Again, she had passed away by a heart attack on her senior trip. Gosh, it's hard to freaking read this.
Yeah.
It was 6 years ago. They started the tournament to remember her love of life and family and friends. And this year will be the 4th annual. It's a 2-day event. It fills up very fast. Everyone wants to be a part of her legacy and embrace the way she lived her life. Hats off to Jimmy being able to write this for me. And we talked about it because he said, writing it, he loves it. He loves that we're sharing your story, but it brings up a lot of bad memories for him.
Right.
But at the same time, Jimmy and Sherry, fantastic people, unbelievable. They were super nice to all of our friends, and we just became unbelievable friends. Yeah. And in fact, I was just talking to him a couple nights ago, and he sent me a text. He said, "Are you around in July?" I was like, well, fuck yeah, I have to work. I'm not going away for July.
Right.
And he said him and his girlfriend Sherry, which another beauty too, they were contemplating on whether to go to England or come to Lance. Nowhere to lie. And and we want them to come, obviously, because we want to show them Atlantic Canada and well, not Atlantic Canada, but Nova Scotia,
right?
And Lance, I guess. And one of the funny things was he said, I know that you guys like Sherry, so she'll probably have to have a place to stay. So are there any cheap hotels around? So I just said, fuck off, Jimmy. Janice had already purchased new bedding for you guys. So it was across the street.
Oh, that's amazing.
But anyway, I did want to mention Alex's legacy and hopefully, their tournament goes off really well. And I'm sure it does. Jimmy said they always fill it.
Right on.
They raise lots of money. So yeah. Anyway, Jimmy, if you're listening, pal, we certainly feel for you.
Absolutely.
And look forward to seeing you this summer.
Well, yeah, I got to meet Jimmy now.
Yeah, well, Jimmy's going to come to some ball games. Actually, he was asking me when we were going to be in Ottawa because we're going to that carp tournament, July the 23rd or whatever it is.
The weekend after.
I'm not sure. Yeah, and I don't know how far Belleville is from where we're going, but anyway, he was talking about it.
Right on.
Yeah, good dude.
Great. That's great.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry to bring the tears out there.
Man. That's quite a story.
Yeah. Let's talk about pitch clock for a second.
Oh yeah.
Did you fucking see Manny Machado?
Yes.
So pitch clock, it's been a rule since spring training. It's not going to change. And he got kicked out of the game, but he still argued it, and so does his coach.
I know.
Like, it's a goddamn rule. I don't love the pitch clock. I do love the fact that it does speed the game up considerably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there was a game last week that was 2 hours and 6 minutes or 2 hours and 12 minutes or something. That's pretty amazing.
Unheard of for Major League Baseball. Yeah.
It's usually 9 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah. I know we used to say Manny being Manny for Ramirez, but now it's Machado or Manny being Manny. Like, come on, exactly. Man. Come on.
Crazy.
Yeah. And we also have the U23s are starting up, I believe 10 days from now as we record this on the 5th. When is the first game? That's April 15th. Yeah. So it is 10 days away.
Up quick. Yeah.
Canada opens up against Venezuela.
Yeah. Best of luck to all all of our Canadian kids that are going to be participating and all of the teams, of course.
Yep, for sure. Hopefully the boys in red and white can come back with a gold medal.
Yeah. That'd be pretty sick.
Yes, sir. I'm just looking at the schedule now. They got, I don't know who the WBSC team is.
WBSC team?
Yeah, there's in the schedule.
Like Russia or something?
No.
I don't think they have.
Oh, that's probably Argentina's. No, geez, I don't know. Anyway, that's who they play second. Then they get.
Perhaps we should have researched this before the podcast.
Either way, frig it.
Yeah.
Either way, anyway, best of luck, boys. Bring home that gold. Speaking of gold, we have a guy coming on that's won a few.
Golden boy.
Man, he's won everything. Ryan Wolfe. I got to bring it up in the podcast. I have to personally thank him. Okay. For not being there in that 09 game against Kitchener. Right. He was not there for that game.
That's right.
He showed up the next day, and I'm going to thank him because chances are if he was there, probably wouldn't have won that game.
Yeah, I've played in a few nationals against Ryan. I mean, he was the epitome of captain of Team Canada. Yeah. Like the guy's he's just amazing ball player. Could hit like there was nobody else in the world.
Well, you know how they say about 5-tool player.
100%.
Was a 5-tool player.
5-tool for sure.
Unbelievable.
But I always remember on a few occasions he would always show up late. For work commitments or what have you. I know he's a teacher, yeah. But anyway, he'd always show up and then smash
then
bombs.
They win. It's like he show up and then they win.
That's right.
So I can't wait to get in, talk about his career, because I mean, such an illustrious career. He got inducted last year in the ISC Hall of Fame, rightfully so, and can't wait to hear how that went for him. And
for sure,
because no doubt that's probably a big milestone in his career.
I was looking at that today. There was some pretty big names that were inducted last year with him.
Yep.
Yeah. I got to play against a lot of them too, which was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway,
let's get to Wolfey.
Let's get on.
I live for the moment. Yo.
All right, here we go. We are happy to have on with us today 7-time ISC World Champion, 11-time ISC All World Selection, 2015 Pan Am and WBSC, or ISF back then, World Champ, and 2022 ISC Hall of Fame inductee, the one and only Ryan Wolfe. Wolfey, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, pal.
My pleasure. I'm honored to be joining you guys tonight. It's great.
Awesome.
Man, I was running out of breath with all the stuff there.
It was like when they were announcing Tiger Woods on the tee box. 17-time blah, 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 blah. That's awesome.
How are you and the family making it?
We're great. Yeah. Things are a little wet here right now. We've been getting a lot of rain the last few days. here in London, but all good. Kind of wrapping up the winter sports seasons. Garrett's hockey finished up on the weekend, and
Nice.
Allie kind of had her final figure skating weekend there. And other than Emma, she's got provincials for volleyball coming up later this month, and then nationals in May out in Calgary. But
Nice.
You're
busy, man. Wow.
Yeah, we're busy, but it good keeps me out of trouble. And when the rain has stopped here, the weather's warming up, so it's looking a little bit more like ball weather, which I can't wait to get on the field.
Awesome.
For sure. I was going to ask what's keeping you occupied these days, but you just rhymed her off, man. That's that's definitely keeping you occupied. Are you?
Yeah, I stay pretty busy.
Are you coaching anything at all, like the minor hockey or anything?
Yeah, I helped coach Garrett's hockey team, and I'm the head coach this year for my daughter's Allie. She's playing U17, so I'm the head coach this year for her team. So we've been doing some indoor workouts so far. Got a pictures later tonight. So yeah, coaching a little bit of everything.
Nice. How you like that?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
We've got a great group of girls. A lot of the girls have been together for 6, 7, 8 years now. We're making the jump. We're U15 last year, and we're a tier 2 team in Ontario. They're kind of tier 1, tier 2. Tier 1 teams compete to go to nationals, and tier 2 we compete to go to Eastern Canadians. And last year we finished second in the province and went out to St. John's for the Eastern Canadians. So it's a good group. We're jumping up to U17, but I think we got a nice group heading into the season. Looks
fantastic.
It's exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're a teacher, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
what do you teach?
Well, with phys ed for most of my career, I've been teaching phys ed for over 20 years, but this year I've just transitioned into guidance. So I'm a guidance counselor now, and it's been a nice transition. A little easier on the body than being in the gym all day. So
get to sit down for a little bit during the day now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Still try to get up and move around, get my steps in. But yeah, no, it's been a nice change.
Awesome.
It's good.
So I wanted to ask you about NHL playoffs. Who do you got?
I grew up. I'm an Oilers guy, so I got the Oilers. Yep, I was a big Gretzky fan growing up, and still hanging on. We had some lean years there for a while, but playing well. McDavid, if McDavid and Draisaitl can replicate, what they did last playoffs, or even come close to it, I like their chances. Goaltending obviously is always a question mark with Edmonton, but I liked their pickups at the trade deadline. Ekholm solidifies the back end a bit.
That was a big pickup.
Yeah, he was huge. I really didn't know he was on their radar, but that was a nice surprise. So I'm an Oilers fan. So let's hope. We'll see.
Well, that's I figured being from Ontario, it's going to be a Leaf nation there. But
oh yeah, no, I grew up. Some of my best friends are diehard Leafs fans, and as you guys know, sometimes Leaf fans can be a little hard to take.
Oh gosh, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely. Well, enough about hockey then. Let's get on to your career, man. This is I think we got a vast variety to talk about.
This could
here.
be a 4-hour podcast.
Let's as with every guest, tell us how you got your start in the game, Wolfey.
So like most of your guests, especially Canadians, played softball in the summer, hockey in the winter. But for me, my older brother played, and my original start, the first night was I was just out for a drive. We were up by the ballpark. And the coach of my brother's team, he also had a son a few years older than me, but they were practicing the group, and we pulled up and asked if I had my ball glove with me, and I didn't, but we home to get it, and went back and started playing. So I don't know, 5, 6 years old, started playing, and originally started playing with guys, a few years older than me, and played with them through most of my career. So that was in Melbourne. Mm-hmm. Where I played most of my minor ball. And then, back then every small town had, a softball team. You could go, 20 minutes, our whole league, 10 teams, and then you didn't have to travel very far. And then as I got older, high school, we started sort of merging together with the guys that we were going to high school with, and played in Glencoe. And then my first real jump was my final year. It would have been, I guess, U19 midget back then. I played for a team in Sarnia. My best friend and I sort of left our buddies, and we went and played for a team in Sarnia, and we won provincials and then played in the nationals in New Brunswick that year. So
yeah,
I'll leave it there. I won't give you an LZ career right there.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
yeah, LZ, we were, 2 minutes later, we were like, so he just went through his whole career over podcast over. Well, we've had a lot of the guests that we've had on here from Ontario. I mean, talking about the landscape of ball growing up there. Of course, like you said, 20 minutes area, you'd have 10 teams, 10 to 20 teams, really. I mean, touch on that. I mean, ball was so great back then. And it was the same thing here, like us growing up. I mean, Hopey, you can attest to this, that, we had so many teams in the area to play with. And it's not like now, but I mean, how fun was that growing up with that many teams?
Oh, it was great. And then there was good ball. Like it's, every team was solid, and, you were playing great games all the time. It only helped with development. And as a lot of your guests have said too, you get to the midget junior provincials, we'd have 40 plus teams at our provincial elimination. So getting out of Ontario was extremely difficult. And if you were, those teams that qualified out of Ontario, you were obviously heading to nationals with a pretty strong team. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And the thing, the battle that you went through to get there, I think was, beneficial for you once you got to nationals, because you were already playing at that top caliber, right?
Oh yeah. Like I know, when my second to last year of junior, we beat Napanee, with Robbie O'Brien, Jody Ait, and Paul Rosebush all on the roster.
Wow.
You're playing three future,
Hall of
Team
Famers.
Canada members, Hall of Famers, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
In junior. So to get through that, you're playing good ball and playing against great competition.
Gosh, yes, for sure.
So maybe touch on your junior days. What tell us about that.
Yeah, so I played most of my junior with Fingal, which eventually sort of became the St. Thomas team that played in nationals, and I guess 97 was the year. I guess we beat that strong Napanee team with Robbie and Jody and Rosie and the whole crew. And we got to nationals. It was our first taste of nationals, and didn't perform the way we would have liked. And then the following year in 98, we had Rob Schweier throwing for us. So back then, he was the man. He was dominant. So having him on the mound, we were in every game, and so we won provincials that year. I think we beat Paul Court, was throwing for maybe Owen Sound or Napanee at the time. We beat him in the finals, and then we went on and we won the nationals that year out in Grand Prairie, Alberta, and again beating Trevor Ethier, Quentin Matzner. We're playing for Saskatoon. I think we beat them in the finals. So.
Man, that had to be an awesome experience.
Oh yeah, great experience. Again, in Grand Prairie, they were drawing big crowds, and I think we won 4-3 in the final. So it was a back and forth game. It was really exciting.
Nice. So what was it? What was it like stepping into senior play? Right out to junior, because I mean, senior in Ontario at that time must have been, crazy.
Oh my goodness. And I was fortunate because not only like our Fingal team, there was also a Fingal senior men's team as well. So I was sort of doing double duty for while I was playing junior. I was also playing with the senior team. And, back then we had what was called the Molson ISC League here. And, the teams that we were playing, the Gators, Owen Sound, the Waterloo Twins, facing, Darren Zach, Frank Cox, Brad Underwood.
Jesus.
Those were our league games. Grant Patterson, the list just went on and on. So for me, as in my early, I'd be in my early 20s and playing junior, but also already playing senior. I was seeing great pitching all the time. And then in 99, when I was done junior, stepped in and was playing full time, senior. and it was, I had enough experience already that I kind of knew what to expect, but you could only help but get better facing the kind of pitching that we were seeing.
Well, of course.
And the hitters too. So
yeah.
Can you imagine playing in a league with Zachy and
Our U23 players are facing you on Thursday nights, Randy.
yeah, that's not much. Oh, man. Yeah, but at least they get to face they get to face Scove. So
at least they get lots of at bats because typically they're up 4 or 5 times a game.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay, man.
Sorry,
okay.
Randy. Sorry.
That's okay. But still, Wolfie. I mean, getting to face Z-Man and
any of those guys,
that was definitely beneficial for your game at that time.
Oh yeah, and it was a huge learning curve. I remember. I don't know if I was playing senior yet or whether I was just called up for some exhibition games. And I think we played a doubleheader against Owen Sound. So the first game, they've got Frank Cox on the mound. The next game, they've got Brett Underwood. And, coming in as a young, that's what you want to see. And again, I am probably being a little naive and maybe full of myself at the time as a youngster. I walked in and Frank Cox threw a rise ball and I swung through it. And I thought, wow, I'm not going to do that again. And threw me two more rise balls and I swung through and went and sat down. So, you either learn and make the adjustments or you're going to be walking up, seeing 3 pitches and walking back to the bench. So, it really, really helped my development 100%.
Yeah, no doubt. No, 99, that was your first ISC tournament you were with Oshawa Gators, correct?
Yeah. So I had a pretty good, year. Again, I was coming on the scene. Not too many guys knew who I was. So I had a pretty good year in league that year. And we didn't qualify. Fingal team didn't qualify, but the Gators did. So they actually picked me up for the ISCs that year. And, that was a great experience to attend my first ISCs with a legendary team like the Gators.
So what was it, that first one for you? That had to be a pretty eye-opening experience. I mean, getting on that stage for the first time.
Yeah, it was. And I was a pickup. So then they already had a pretty deep roster.
Right.
So I didn't get a whole lot of playing time, but I knew that I made that choice, going in. Waterloo had also qualified and had, reached out to see if I was interested in going with them. But again, to get that experience and go with a team like the Gators, it was just a great experience. And the veteran guys there, Adam Smith and Chris Jones and Chuck Hendricks and those guys were really good to just sort of take me under their wing and just talk the game and go through things. And it was just a real good learning experience for me, even though I didn't get a whole lot of playing time.
Right.
The realization when you're a young guy to actually tell yourself that, I know I'm not going to play a lot, but the amount of experience I'm going to gain from being with these legends, that's huge and says a lot about who you are and why you did so well in the future, actually.
Oh, thank you.
No, you're more than welcome. I'm here to pump your tires.
I appreciate that, Hopey.
I'm a tire pumper.
Yeah.
So, Wolfie, would you say 2000 was, your breakout year, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. So that 99 year at Nationals, we had, again, I think Brian Patton was playing with us and just talking with him. And again, a mentor of mine. And I learned so much from Brian over the years and wanted to, be a, kind of leadoff batter and player that he was. He just said, there's some opportunities out there if I wanted them. And had a few teams express some interest in me going down and playing for them in the States and was fortunate enough. I made the choice to go with Broken Bow. And again, one of the best decisions I've made in my softball career for sure was joining them and the program that Doc Simmons had there.
Yeah. I was going to mention Doc, big name in our game. What was it like playing for him all those years?
Oh, it was great. He just ran such a professional style of organization. He was very clear in his expectations. Everything was business-like. He had very high expectations for how we played and how we conducted ourselves. The first meeting of every year, he would lay it out that, if you wake up in the morning and you're not ready to play, just leave your uniform at my door. He doesn't want us. So, learned a lot from Doc and being surrounded by the teammates and players that he put together. really helped.
No doubt. We got to touch on that 2001 year, because I mean that was your first of 7 titles, and you know the first one's always special. How awesome was that first one?
Yeah, geez.
I can still remember the last pitch. We just had a confidence that year at the ISCs. It just didn't seem to matter. Obviously, having Musey thrown the way he was and Schweier as a number 2, or 1A, 1B basically back then. You had a lot of confidence that teams weren't going to score a whole lot of runs off of us. And I remember in the final, the Farm scored 1 in the first. And didn't even phase us. I think we came back and scored 3 in the bottom of the first and went on to win 6-1. I think the closest game we played all week was a 4-0 game against Edmonton. We were just in a comfort zone and just played extremely well all week. And yeah, obviously that first one you win is very special and very memorable.
No doubt. Now you touched on Musey there. I mean, how good was he in that time frame when you were Broken Bow? Because he was lights out.
The years I played with him in the early 2000s with Broken Bow, he was the best on the planet at the time, without question, and just amazing to watch him throw, and made my job as a fielder pretty easy, because there weren't that many balls being put away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For
hard
sure.
to drop them when they're not hit to you.
Yeah. Well, I can remember in 97 and 98 here in Nova Scotia when he was with the Keys and then the Jaguars when they won nationals in 98. And after that 98 nationals, it's like, he went down to the States and just became absolutely dominant. And I think that's probably due to the fact, the 1 foot back off the rubber.
Oh yeah,
definitely helped his game a lot.
Yeah, he was a different pitcher with 1 foot back, and what did he go 23 straight games? Yeah, without losing at the ISCs.
That's unreal.
And it's not like he was pitching just the early week games. He was pitching on the final weekend against the Farm Tavern and the County Materials and all the big boys too, and still winning. So what he did over that span was impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what was it like playing on the ISC circuit in the early 2000s? Because, I mean, you had the who's who of ball at that point. Because, I mean, you had the guys like, Meredith and Peaches and Z-Man, winding down. But then you also had the other guys coming in the game. That it was just a great time for ball.
It really was. I again, a little biased, but I think it was the best era of ball. I was able to catch, like you said, the Merediths and Peaches towards the end, and Zach towards the end of their careers, but also, right in the heart with, the Todd Martins and the Dean Holine, Corey Garus. And, again, like I said earlier on, when you're traveling to these tournaments, all over the States, and you're facing these types of pitchers every weekend, again, you either get better or, you're not going to be invited back to the team.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got to make those adjustments and perform. So again, the development throughout that time was awesome, but it was great ball. You had, just all kinds of great teams. It was a great era of ball, in my opinion.
It was the era.
Big time. Yeah. Big time. No, besides that first title with Broken Bow, what any other big memories, with your time with them stand out to you?
With Bow, I think it was pretty impressive what we did when we merged with the Spirit, and to win with your first year with a merged team, and then go back to back as well. The 03, 04. And again, we had a strong team, but you never know when you're bringing in, different personalities and how everyone's going to gel. And, you're replacing players that were friends and teammates for a few years, and people have to accept different roles. So I thought we did really well to be able to, form as a newly formed team in 2003, and then to back it up in 04. Again, was a pretty great accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Would say, yes.
That's unreal. So what led to the move to the farm?
The Broken Bow team was kind of just dispersing a little bit. Doc Doc was going through some issues and really wasn't looking to maybe put the same type of team, or was just going through some changes in his personal life. And for me, it was just a good opportunity. And Doc and I, we're still very close. We're good friends. I respect him. And he told me to, he was okay if I went and looked elsewhere. And for me, I had a couple of opportunities, but when I looked at the roster of the farm and, a lot of my close friends and especially a lot of my teammates at that time with Team Canada, it was a no-brainer to transition and move to the farm.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me is, the teams that you had when you were there, the fact that, you came close to getting one with the farm, but I mean, just came shy of getting it. But I mean, what was it like playing with that assembled roster? Cause I mean, it was pretty stacked.
Yeah. Stupid.
Oh, it was ridiculous acting. Yeah, just came up short. I don't know what it was. Obviously, we had county in the first year in 2005. We should have won that one. You go into the seventh with a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
You should be able to close it out. But again, you're also playing a pretty stacked lineup on the other side.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the following year, we lost the game early. We ended up having to meet county earlier on the final day than we should have. And even in that game, there was an interruption, rain delay. So we were we were down a little and we were starting to make a little run. And then the rain came and they actually sent us back to our hotels. And then we had to come back to finish the game. So it was a little bit of a disjointed game. A lot of people think that was probably the sort of the gold medal, the championship game, just played a little bit earlier. But again, you're playing against great teams, and you can't win them all. And if you don't, sometimes you just get beat. And unfortunately that year, even though with the lineup we had, you're going to lose some of those games, and we unfortunately lost those two.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring up that 2005 final, but I mean,
yeah,
that definitely had to be a tough one for you, man. That's frig 3-0 going in the seventh, and
yeah, that was a tough one. And again, it's one of those games where you just sort of remember everything. It was the first batter with Jared Martin. It was a 3-2 count. And Guru threw, a rise ball just above the belt. Could have been called a strike, and it wasn't in that situation. Called a ball. That would have changed the whole dynamic of the inning. And then a couple home runs later, we're tied and we're going to extra innings. And so yeah, that's why we play the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So then it was off to Kitchener, or I guess it was Aurelia first, wasn't it? Aurelia, and then turned into Kitchener.
Yeah. Aurelia for a year, and then just that sort of transitioned and merged into Kitchener.
Yeah. I mean, some very memorable years there. This is where I get to see you firsthand. How fun were those years with the Twins? Because you guys were dominant.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah, we had a great team, but just a great group of guys. Some of my best friends in the game. We all played together, and not only did we have a good time, but we were doing well on the field too, and had a pretty good run there for a few years. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I mentioned this to Hopey in when we recorded our intro here. I personally have to thank you for the 2009 Nationals and not being there at that game.
Oh, he would have owned you. Wolfey, he would have owned you anyway.
Yeah, I know it would have. I'd have been 0 for 3 probably.
0 for 3 with 3 fly balls to the fence.
Yeah.
Mike Grant pressed up.
I was going to say, I don't think you owe me. I think you owe Mike Grant for that game.
100%.
Definitely. Oh, man. I had to throw that in there.
I would have been disappointed if you didn't throw that one in. I knew that. I knew it was coming.
Oh, man. Well,
it was a highlight for you, Framer. We'll never take it away from you.
Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to move on to Team Canada here. Of course, we're going to go back to ISC Hall of Fame and everything, but I want to jump into Team Canada here. Talk about getting named to the team for the first time. Cause I mean, I can remember your story on Dust Up with Lily and Lolly.
No, Lily and Holly, remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Lily and Holly.
We just did an interview with Dom Del Masio.
Yeah.
Was that's the guy? and he was calling them Lily and Holly.
So
Dom, I hope you're listening.
Dom, if you're listening, you're not going to live this one down, buddy. But anyway, the story about 2000 and Team Canada and, you know, the whole camp there. Tell our listeners about that one, because I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't good for you, but
No, well, it ended up turning out okay.
Yeah.
Going in as a young guy, again, my first real Team Canada camp, and, you know, you're just in awe of all of the names that you're, you know, on the field with, or, you know, going out for the meals and everything with. It was the who's who of Canadian softball at that time. And so anyways, I go in and we training for a couple of days, and we get into the inter squad games. And the first inter squad game, and I hit a double, I think my first at bat. My next at bat, I hit one into the gap and rounded second, and the fielder bobbled it a little bit. So I thought, you know, I'll show off my speed and let's take third. So I'm coming into third and not really seeing any indication from the third base coach that anything's happening. And then sort of last minute, I see third baseman sort of reach for the ball and now try to avoid a tag. So I sort of flop into third base and lay in there, and I know something's not great. And truth be told, I dislocate my shoulder sliding into third.
Shit.
And everyone's kind of looking at me, and I'm laying there in pain, and all I see is our physiotherapist come running across the field, and she's kicking off her shoes. She knew exactly what had happened. And she's kicking off her shoes as she's running across the field, and I'm laying there. She plops down, puts her feet into my ribs, grabs my arm, and I got a few guys leaning over me, seeing what's going on, and she, you know, pops my shoulder back into
damn it.
right on the field.
Oh man!
Holy,
you know, and
shit.
all the the three or four guys leaning over me, they're all turning their head and squeamish. They're like, "Oh my God, what did they just see?" And so, anyways, you know, I'm walking around. I'm in a sling. You know, they go to the hospital, get it checked out. You know, I went to the coaching staff and I said, you know, we're in Oshawa. I said, I'm 2 hours from home. I'm done for the week. I'll just go home. And they're like, no, stay around, hang out, you know, with the guys. I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't have anything else going on. So I hang around for the week, and we get to the end of the week in the players meetings, and they call me in, and I'm expecting nothing but bad news. And they just said to me, you know, we like what you see, we've seen, and, you know, we know you can play, and if you can get that shoulder healthy, you know, you're on the team. So
shit.
I went bouncing out of the room and
dislocated my knee.
And then yeah, exactly. And then, you know, basically went to physio every day, and that was early May, and I think we were leaving for South Africa around the July long weekend, just around there. And, you know, I busted my ass to get healthy, and I was able to make it work. So,
that's an awesome story, man. Love it.
That's awesome. Now, did you put any pressure on yourself at all? Like going into, like, cause I mean, you had, going into that, you would have been like, oh man, I kind of got to perform here for the next month and a half.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, I wanted to prove myself that I was going to be healthy enough to play and perform. And, you know, it was probably a month before I was even back on, but played a couple tournaments. And I think you always want to prove yourself, you know, prove that you're healthy enough or capable of. So there'd be, you know, some pressure for sure.
So what was that first ISF like down in South Africa?
Yeah, it was amazing. Again, the players that I was surrounded by, again, similar to almost the 06 ISCs, we lost a game to Australia, which put us in a bit of a hole, and we had to play New Zealand again earlier than we expected. We lost a close one to them, 3-2, which eliminated us. We finished fourth. But again, playing on that stage, it's a totally different level. Whenever you're representing your country, you know, you obviously want to perform and do everything you can. But again, in that year, you know, again, we had 5 outfielders there, you know, and it was Colin Abbott, Brian Patton, Rob Gray, Paul Rosebush, and myself. So we had a pretty good five that we could roll through.
Man alive.
So you must have been like a sponge at that point of your career, right? I mean, being with all those guys.
Absolutely. And then listening to your podcast with Dallas Kiffer, he talked about being a sponge, and that's, you just ask questions, and those guys were all great. They were, Paul Rosebush and I were the two young guys on the team, and, they called us the twins because we just did everything together, and kind of, we were both sort of quiet and shy, but you're just absorbing everything you can from them, and, how they conduct themselves, how they prepare for games, and it was a different level of compete. I think, I don't know if I told this story on Holly and Lily's podcast or not, but
that's awesome.
Love you guys.
I remember I love you guys. I think it was one of the first games I was playing. There was a pickoff at second base, and the base runner dove back in, but Adam Smith just sort of grabbed the ball, stepped on the guy's hand as he was trying to slide back in the bag, tagged him out, and just ran off the field. It was nothing. So just how hard you slide, how hard you tag, how hard you play and compete was just another level from anything I had seen before.
Wow. Yeah. And actually, I remember you another story you told on with them that I think you were out here playing a tune-up game, and you had swung at a first pitch, and then you and Abby were talking out and as you were warming up, and Terry Bader kind of got mad at you.
Yeah, again, it was, I was always my career fastball hitter. I was a very aggressive hitter, and I came into the situation as a pinch hitter and swung at the first pitch with runners on base and run in scoring position, and popped out. And Abby was great. He just, as we were going out to the outfield to get warmed up, he just walked with me and talked about how in certain situations, and he appreciated my approach, and how aggressive I am. But he said in certain situations, taking a pitch and getting comfortable, getting your timing down, is important in those big situations. And again, you got someone like Colin Abbott,
you're
giving
listening.
you batting tips. You're going to take that to heart for sure. So it was great being surrounded by, such talented guys, but they were so good to me to, just help me learn the game even more.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially at that level.
So I got a question, Ryan. So your actual mental approach, I kind of want to go through it with, as far as before the game. And this is kind of, what you're talking about, learning from all these guys. When you would get to a situation where, let's just pretend it's a key game in a tournament, what is your mental approach prior to the game itself? Like when you're getting warmed up and what have you? Or what was it? I'm trying to observe and take in whatever I can.
Whether it's, if I'm out in the outfield, shagging fly balls, I'm watching, the other fielders, watching the arm strength, those sorts of things. So who can I attack? Who, if the ball goes to them in the outfield, can I take the extra base on them? Those sorts of things. And then for me, and we often would do a lot of, especially in the big games with Team Canada, we're looking at, we're talking about the pitchers we might face and strategies and those things, going through, at bats that I'd had previously and how they pitched me, how the catchers like to, try to pitch to me, because, that's almost more important than how the pitchers throw, because it's often what the catchers think they can get you out on, or how they're going to attack the at bat. And those are the biggest things for me, just trying to take in whatever sort of information I can that's going to help me during the game.
Love it.
Nice.
Love that stuff so much.
Did you ever get to look in Obi's black book and see what he had written on you? Or?
Never did. No, but I know I played against him long enough and I faced him long enough. I know how he wanted to get me out and how a lot of those catchers wanted to try and get me out. So but no, he wouldn't share it with me, and we traveled together a lot and we talked ball a ton. But he kept the black book pretty close to it. Yeah,
rightfully so. I mean, that was
absolutely.
That's a legendary thing for him, and I just love hearing the story about it.
Absolutely.
Just one thing about mental approach, and I just want to talk about it because we teach a lot of kids, or we're trying to teach a lot of kids, and it can start at the youngest of age too. Like you said, watching and kind of recognizing the who is who on the ball field, your opponent, who has an arm, who doesn't have an arm, blah, blah, blah. but also the mental approach to your at-bats. And we try to tell kids now, and it's tough because a lot of them don't get it, obviously, because they're young. But even like the U17 level or even U23 level, you have to kind of. I remember listening to Colin when we had Abby on, and he said, you got me with that pitch the first time. You're not getting me the second time with it. Like his approach was, you can't get it by me. Yeah. I'm going to adjust to, like you said before, you have to make those adjustments. I do love the fact that the game is more mental than it is physical. And I want those kids to start realizing that stuff. And even those U23 kids that are listening right now, realize that shit. Listen to this guy talking to us right now.
Yeah.
He knows shit.
Yeah. And I've, over the last couple of years, I've done I did a base running webinar for coaches across Canada. And I used to, or the last cycle with the Canada Summer Games team, Scott Searle, who coached the Ontario team, would have me come out to some of their camps, when they were around me in Ontario, and I'd talk about base running. And really all I do is I go around, when I'm at first base, these are the things I'm looking for. When I'm at second base, these are the things I'm looking for. When I'm at third base, and all of the sort of little cues and things I'm looking to take advantage of when I'm on the base paths. Right. And like you said, at the plate, pitchers, if they think they got you out the last time on this pitch, it's probably they're going to come back to it at some point.
Yep.
And it's just a matter of making those adjustments. And like Abby said, not going to get it by me again.
That's right. And he proved it a lot.
Yeah,
he sure did.
Yeah. Actually, one thing that I remember that you said, talking with Hilly and Lolly about
Hilly and Lolly,
the tagging from second and scoring.
Yeah, we were talking about that prior to the
I like what you said about, if it was a fly ball to right field, you were like, okay, well, the second baseman's going out there, and usually he doesn't have an arm to throw. And I thought that was that was awesome. Like, and if other people heard that, they'd be like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the example I used was from the ISCs. I did it. And again, I don't remember who was playing the middle infield, but it was a sort of a tailing ball into the right field corner. So not only were they making the catch on the run, so they're going to take a few steps before they can get stopped. They're going to come to the cutoff at second base, and they're not expecting you either to try and score from second on.
No, that's right.
On a fly ball. So you're not only that you're catching them off guard a little bit, and it is the second baseman's arm. And, and again, I think nothing against second basemen. They're phenomenal defenders, but as you mature, as you get older, the kids with the stronger arms are going to be playing third base, shortstop, the left side of the infield, not the right side. So it's just looking for those little things to take advantage of. Simple, but make a big difference in a big game.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny. We was telling Hopey about this when we were talking before we start recording about there's a kid in our league, Nick White. He's with Hill United now, and he's like a deer on the base pass, and he did it this year in league, fly ball to center field. He tagged from second to third, but he just kept going. He made her home, and I was pitching.
I don't even think there was a throw at the plate.
I don't know.
He's so quick,
and that's the first thing I thought of when I was like, "Here, Whitey's being Wolfey. Like, what is going on here?"
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear that, because really, you're not expecting it. Is the biggest thing.
No, not at all.
I've actually watched Sandy score on a slow roller to shortstop from second base before.
Sandy?
Infield ball, yeah. So it was hit to the infield. It was a slow roller to shortstop, so he had to charge the ball to make a play at first, and he rounded third and scored.
Wow.
From second, yeah. But the first baseman had no idea he was going home.
Right.
Like, it was one of those, holy shit, this guy's crazy.
And they're also thinking it's Sandy who's a catcher, but he is quick.
He can wheel, man. Yeah. Don't let him hear that. He'll kill you.
Sandy can wheel. He can run, man. Yeah.
Damn straight he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wolfie, I want to talk about 2013. That year after New Zealand. You thought, like, you were done after 2013, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I didn't play the ISCs. I was retired. I was done playing. Yeah. So I thought.
Yeah. So you thought. So, I mean, what was the driving force in getting you back? Was it the fact that Pan Ams and ISFs were in Canada?
Yeah, that was a big one. And I think part of me just felt like there was some unfinished business. And I remember even in our Team Canada meeting at the end of the ISFs in 2013, they made mention, I think LZ and I were standing in the corner or sitting over in the corner. And, they just mentioned that, we had some unfinished business, and hopefully, even a couple of the old guys weren't going to hang them up. And I knew I was. I had a feeling to keep playing, and he obviously for sure should have. But for me, the real factor that changed my opinion was one, both Pan Ams and the WBSC ISFs were going to be in Canada, but the Pan Ams was something that I had never experienced. To play in the multi-sport Pan Am games,
right.
So to have that opportunity really made me reevaluate things.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was incredible.
It was. I mean, well, let's talk about the ISFs first, because
don't say Holly or Lily.
Well, we can't. Somebody had a pretty big game in that finals, but
Jesus Christ.
For you personally, that last one, to go out on top and win that must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was. I'd been through some disappointments before, and every ISFs I played in, we always had done really well in round robin. And just never seemed to be able to put it together to bring home the gold. And to finally do it, and the way it started out, it was, I remember standing up on the bench and just saying to myself, like, not again. This can't happen again. Just the way it was going. And then, Horny got us going with a big hit, and things just sort of snowballed from there. And like you said, somebody had a pretty big game that day.
Yeah. And that was crazy. That was awesome. What was the atmosphere like that you can remember in there that day?
Electric. That stadium when it gets filled up, it's unbelievable. And we had multiple games, even in 2009 and the playoff game in 2015. The fans, they're passionate out there. They're a little bit rowdy, which is nice, and they just get right into it. One of the best atmospheres, ever get the chance to play in is there for sure.
Nice.
100%.
And Pan Ams, were they a week later or 2 weeks?
Yeah, somewhere in the middle, about 10 days or something like that. We got home, and it was sort of a turnaround. About a week, we were heading to the athletes village.
Well, at least you were pretty close, though. That must have been awesome, having family and friends there.
Yeah, that was probably the best part of the whole thing. Lots of family and friends were showing up all week, and Megan and the kids were able to come for the final weekend in the gold medal game, and just to share that experience with them was really special.
Where were the games actually played?
They were played in Ajax.
Okay,
sort of just a bit east of Toronto.
Right. Yeah.
And you had Opie's haircut that week too.
That was, and again, you guys have talked about it on your cast before, but Mason couldn't get it out fast enough. He couldn't send the pictures out fast enough. That haircut, and as lots of people say, Opie's one of the best to watch when he gets out at the plate. You could just tell imagine how furious he was after getting a haircut like that.
Oh, it's so awesome to laugh about it now, though.
I love it.
Well, I'm sure you guys were laughing about it then.
We were, and despite our safety probably being in jeopardy, with Opie being so mad, but it was.
But then again, it's things like those that kind of calms the nerves, really, and in situations like that.
Oh yeah, exactly. And those are the memories that we have.
Oh God, yes.
Those sorts of things, and Opie probably didn't appreciate it at the time, but it's a memory we all laugh about now.
Yeah. So that ended, like, you knew you were done after that, didn't you?
Yeah. I was done after the 2015, the Pan Ams. That was my swan song, and I'm just.
Not a bad way to go out.
Go out the way it did. No, exactly.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's amazing. Amazing. Now, before we get to the Hall of Fame induction, who are some of the pitchers that over your career that gave you fits, or were there any?
No, there were, and Marty will appreciate this, but I always say Marty.
Oh yeah,
was one of the toughest pitchers I faced, and again, faced him my whole career. You know, he was always in his longevity was incredible. But for me, you know, a guy like Todd who, you know, would throw a change up any pitch, you know, he'd throw me first pitch of the game, he'd throw a change up and just get it in my head.
Yeah.
And had all the pitches and just a competitor. He was tough. Adam Folkard as well.
Wow.
You know, I got to see him. He was towards the end of my career, and I got to play with him for a year as well. But, you know, he was just so good and so dominant and threw so hard. There's a lot. Like, again, in our game, as you know, it's a game of failure. If you're getting hit 3-4 times out of 10, you're awesome. Potential Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's right.
There's a long list, but those two jump out. Even Zach, I saw Zach at the end of his career. You know, he just gave everyone fits until, you know, there's a long list.
Yeah, for sure. Now, speaking of Hall of Famers, I mean, you got inducted last year. What were the emotions like when you got word you were going in?
Yeah, it's emotional. It really is. For me, the whole process was a little disjointed, just the way it played out. Like, I was nominated in 2020 or named, I guess, in 2020, and then something was going on in the world and they didn't host in 2020. So then even in 2021, things hadn't really corrected themselves, and there were still some travel restrictions and coming back across. You know, they were going to be held in the States, and then coming back across, you know, there was going to be some quarantine time. So Musey and I were in constant communication throughout all this, and he had family and friends that he wanted to attend. Decided that we would defer our induction if they would allow it until 2022. But it's such an honor, you know, to be named to the Hall of Fame. You don't, you know, it's very cliche, but you don't play the game to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's something that, you know, comes after your career, but it's quite an honor to feel, you know, to know that, you know, the committee and the Hall of Fame committee feels that what I did over the course of my career was worthy of being named to the Hall of Fame.
For sure.
It's awesome, man.
Must have been nice going in with Boxy and Musey as well.
Yeah, that was great. And I was so happy when Musey and I were named together, you know, because, you know, I owe so much to Musey, and he's just one of those special, not only players, but human beings. You know, he's just a great all around person. And we had shared so much success together, especially early on in our career. And then Boxy joined, you know, Broken Bow in 2001, and we shared a lot of good times and championships with him as well. So yeah, to have those two guys and even Reese, you know, Reese was with the Broken Bow Spirit. So we had won some titles and battled together, and he's a great player and teammate and friend as well.
Travis,
you know,
Travis was in there too. Yeah. Travis Wilson.
Yeah. The whole class. I had never had the opportunity to play with Travis, and I mentioned that in my speech, but, you know, we battled against each other, and just knowing what he has done in the game, not only softball, but baseball as well. And what he's still doing in the game of softball, you know, a lot of respect for Travis. So it was nice that he was part of it. And Bob McGowan, the sixth inductee, was an administrator and on the executive of that ISC league when I started playing in Ontario. So I had a connection with Bob as well. So
wow, that's great.
It was a great class to be a part of.
That's awesome. Well deserved too.
We should start a Hall of Fame down here in Bill's basement.
Frick sakes. All right, Wolfey, good way to segue into player association here.
Okay.
I'm sure you know what's taking place here. I'm going to throw out some names to you.
I'm curious who you're going to pick. So,
all right. Yeah. First one off the get-go, Brian Patton.
Oh, God, nuts. Yeah. What a mentor for me. I remember it might have been in 99 at the Canadian. Early on, anyways, they used to do the Diamond Dirt. I don't remember those. John Thompson.
Yes, loved it. Yep,
definitely
loved it.
You know, daily newsletter. Yeah, and one day he had quotes from some fans, and one of the fans said something about me being, you know, a young Brian Patton, and for me that was about the ultimate compliment I could receive. Wow. To be considered, you know, being sort of put alongside someone like Brian Patton, but. a great guy, great mentor. Always love running into him, still to this day when I see him. Hell of a ball player, obviously. Can't say enough good things about Brian.
Nice.
Right on. Next up, friend of the show, Jazzy Jared Martin.
Oh, Jazz. Just an unbelievable talent. Like, he was just so good. And I couldn't believe, when I started playing with him with Broken Bow, like, Jared Martin was established and had done so many things in the game. He's only a couple years older than me. Like, I couldn't believe for everything that he had accomplished that he was, at the time, only a couple years older than me, but, could play anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, not only was he a phenomenal hitter, knew the game so well, but, played a great first base, could play the outfield with us. He played the outfield for some time in some tournaments with us, could do it all. And just, again, just a great human being, really good friend. Really just Jazz is fantastic.
Yeah. And wouldn't he, like, during the course of the season, like, always let first pitch go by? And then, come ISCs, big games, he'd just be like, "Oh, I'm teeing off on the first pitch."
Yeah, he just knew the game so well and had his tactics and strategies, and he stuck to them. And he wouldn't swing until he had a strike. But then again, sort of setting pitchers up. They thought they could sneak one by him, and next thing he's smashing it. And he actually, at the one ISCs, we were playing the New York Spirit, and Cox was pitching, and he went to call time, and the umpire didn't give him time, so he kind of stepped out of the box a bit, but the umpire didn't give him time, so Coxie just sort of laid one over the plate, and Jared stepped back in and hit it out of the park.
That's playing them again.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Oh wow,
yeah,
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Next up, another friend of the show and another Kiwi, Thomas Macchia.
Oh, again, just a competitor. And again, so talented. You talk about a 5-tool baseball player, and Thomas could do it all, and same sort of thing. Like, Thomas and I are the same age, but my first year playing with Broken Bow, again, he was so established and had already accomplished so many things in the game, and come to realize we're out for a team meal, and come to find out we're both just turning 25, and it's like, wow, like, you've done so much in the game. I'm just sort of getting started at this level, but could run, throw, hit. He just played. He could just do it all. And same thing, he came over as a pitcher as well. Like, just such a great athlete. And I remember the first ISCs we played that year in 2000 in St. Joe's. He won the Triple Crown. He batted like 600 and hit 5 or 6 home runs and all these RBIs. It was just a different level. One of the greatest performances I was able to see at the ISCs. But quiet guy, Thomas was very quiet, but we developed a pretty good rapport in the outfield and got to know each other. And great. Thomas is a great guy, great friend.
Awesome. 2 more here. Paul Rosebush.
Oh, Bushman. One of my favorite guys in the game. We became great friends right away. We kind of competed against each other growing up. As I said, in junior ball, we were playing against each other, and then got the opportunity to play with each other with Team Canada. Was sort of our first opportunity, and just hit it off right away. I guess both sort of being the young guys on the team, we kind of sort of pushed that way, but again, super talented, not only ball player, but a great hockey player as well, but fun to play with. Like, what he could do at the plate, you couldn't defend him, drop a bunt down, slap it, hit it through the hole, hit it over the fence, played the game hard, and just an intense guy. But again, great friend. Don't get to see him, talk to him that much anymore. He's out in California, but always a lot of fun playing and being around Rosie.
Excellent. And last but not least, another friend of the show, one of the best ever, Colin Abbott.
Abbott's he's such a class act. So talented. What a great hitter. Obviously, one of the best ever. So knowledgeable, worked at his craft, but willing to share that information and that knowledge with with younger players. You know, we used to joke when we'd be out, we were playing with the farm. We called him the Godfather because anytime it was sort of when Malali and Hilly and those guys were young, and we'd be out somewhere, and they would the young Newfoundlanders would come in and they would just round them and just in awe of Colin Abbott.
Yeah.
So we called him the Godfather. But
should have been the Codfather being from Newfoundland.
No, the Godfather. No. Again, Abby's a great guy, great friend, and I learned so much from him.
Beauty.
Over the years.
That's nice, man.
Awesome.
That's
awesome. Great way to end it. Wolfie, listen, pal, I got to thank you for taking the time to out of your schedule to come on here. I mean, I've been wanting to have you on for really since I started the podcast, and, you know, to have one of the best of all time come on, I really appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I've enjoyed all your podcasts. I've been listening right from the start, and appreciate what you guys are doing for the sport of softball, both the men's and the women's game, and what you guys have done over the last few years with this podcast has been great, and hopefully you continue to keep doing it for a long time.
Thanks. Appreciate that a lot.
Awesome.
Appreciate that you listen to us too.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh,
listen to us.
No, absolutely. I've listened to almost all of them. It's been great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome. Listen, Wolfie, thanks again. Best of luck this summer with on the coaching side of things as well.
Yeah, enjoy yourself for sure.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. You as well.
All right, take care, Wolfie.
Take care, Wolfie. See ya.
See you guys.
Woo.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yep.
A lot of fun, man. That's you know, when you touched on the mental side with them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I really enjoy that part. Like when guys talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just means a lot because it is a large part of the game. I mean,
and I hope like the younger guys, especially the guys on our side of the fence here, are listening to this and taking
for sure
what he's saying, because I mean,
and you know, like some of our young guys that are going to be playing the IC circuit, they're going to be sponges. Like we already know Whitey just loves the game, and we know he's going to be listening to guys. He's going to be sitting with Bradley and
actually went talking to him one-on-one there at the Dome on Sunday, and we were talking about that, and that was his biggest thing. Whitey was like, he's like, Framer, my biggest thing is, you know, being able to be on the bench with these guys and just take everything in.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's so smart,
Whitey,
man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, the mental side for sure. Love it. Love every bit of it.
And again,
what a good guy, great speaker. It's not hard to tell how professional he is.
Yes, and the fact that, man, it still blows me away. You know, the fact that Ryan Wolfe listens to the podcast. I mean, it's just weird things.
My mom
like
doesn't
that.
even listen.
I know.
Well,
she's stripping, isn't she?
Yeah, she's busy right now.
Oh, frig. Actually, before we get going, friend of ours.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on Mike Bishop. He's a softball alumni. He pitched with Charlottetown for many years. He's an island boy, not one of them weird guys, but an actual island boy. He's been around the game a lot. He coached Canada games, I believe. Or sorry, he coached U23 the year my son was U23. He coached for PEI. Anyway, I've known Bish a long time. Fantastic guy. Anyway, he ran into a little bit of a problem. He and I don't know the story 100%, but he did take a fall. From what I heard, it was at work. It was from a second story, and he landed on the first floor, but he landed on his face. He has multiple. I know he's had facial reconstructive surgeries, multiple fractures to his face, his nose, vertebrae. Anyway, he's in a little bit of trouble. I know he's home now, trying to recover. And there is a GoFundMe page that's made for Mike to try to help his family out while he's out of commission for a little while. So if anybody would like to donate to it, I can certainly share the GoFundMe thing if I can find it. It is right here. You can put it on our.
I'm going to put it on Outside the Chute for sure.
But it is it's GoFundMe /E1437BF7, and it's again for Mike Bishop. And any little bit helps. You can find him on Facebook as well. We're certainly hoping the best for him. Bish, we hope you get better, buddy.
Yeah.
And we're
Bish, if you're listening, buddy, man, get well. Really rooting for you over here. I mean, he's such a fantastic teammate. I get to play with Bishu, and
of course.
He's such a stand-up guy.
Yeah. He's a beauty.
Yeah. And the fact, he's one of those guys giving back to the game after he's done
man.
playing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
For sure. Yeah.
Fishy, full
All the best,
recovery, buddy.
Yep.
We're rooting for you over here.
Anyway, what do you got coming up next, Randy?
Don't know.
Good stuff.
I gotta schedule.
I've been watching a lot of NCAA ball.
Have you?
Yeah, 'cause I'm lucky enough. I get the ACC channel, Longhorn channel, Pac-10 channel.
Yeah.
I get them all.
Look at you.
So I've been watching a lot. They're kind of coming to the tail end of their season right now.
They're
Getting closer.
up for a regional run here.
Yeah, regional run.
Yeah.
Watch some pretty unbelievably skilled players. It's actually quite fun to watch.
It is.
It is. They're good, man.
They are.
They are. Some of them are just goddamn beasts. Like they can smash the ball.
Yeah.
I know they're 200-foot fences, but it's still smashing the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we were talking to Dallas there,
Yeah.
and he mentioned about Sis Bates.
Yes,
and how
exactly.
amazing,
Yeah.
like she is, and it's true. I mean, you go and watch Sis Bates field a ball, you're like, that is so effortless.
Yeah,
She makes
it's
it look
just so
effortless.
clean.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. They're going to college to get their schooling, but they're on the field every single day.
I know, man.
Practicing.
Wouldn't that not be the best?
And the facilities they have are
it's just
top notch.
Stupid. I
Top
love them
notch.
so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's awesome. It
Anyway,
really is.
it's great to watch. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll try and schedule some stuff up. I mean, that's my job. So anyway, again, thanks everybody for listening. Wolfey, again, thanks for coming on. Oh yeah, wait.
What's up?
Graham Eisner Memorial. Forgot about that. God,
Yeah.
I got to get that in. July 14th to 16th. We are the Graham Eisner Memorial Tournament, second annual.
Second annual, yes.
Is happening. If there's any teams out there that want to jump in, last year was such a big success.
Yeah, we'd love to host you guys.
The crowds we had there were amazing, and it's only going to get bigger this year. I mean,
we have Coldstream on board.
Coldstream's on board. That's big.
Coldstream has a beer now.
Yeah. So, any teams out there, if you want to get in, get a hold of us, and we'll definitely get you in. Trust me, you'll be in for a good weekend. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's for sure. Anyway, Hopey.
Okay, buddy.
Another
Good seeing
week.
you. Yeah.
Hey, listeners, like, subscribe, do all that, follow.
Snap shoot.
All right, classified.
Cheers, Illy and Wally.
Classified.
Said it right.
Classified. All right, see you guys.
Yeah, I know I never took it serious. Then what we had got fucked up. We grew apart, but in my heart I still love ya. Back at the start, I thought it last so long. Went by so fast, now it feels like the passion is gone. Everything I loved about you just got picked away. And it really gets to be because I miss some days. You was modest, honest, pretty much your god. It's the farthest thing from bitchy or heartless. And never saw less of the jobless part hand. Even though I couldn't get your cards and chocolates, you put up with my nonsense day after day. You were one of them types you don't let get away. Shit, we used to get looped together. I remember one time you were so sick we almost puked together. Your mood was better then, but who would've knew what we had we would soon lose forever. Damn, I still love you.
You were like my sunshine. We were too young for love, but I knew you'd be mine. Had to let you go and get on with my life. Now I got you back, ain't gon' leave it this time. And I know I can always rely when I know you'll be keeping me high. So I won't let you go, not again, cause I know I learned my lesson. I know I can't take it serious. You gotta know what I'm feeling, that's this type of love ain't hard to find. But you know you're always on my mind. I know I can't take it serious.
I'm going through the same thing right now, man.
This type of love
I gotta
ain't
say
hard
something on this
to
one.
find.
Okay, yeah, I know. I said I wouldn't do it, but I did it. And now it got me wishing that my position was switching. Never no hugs, no tongue, never kissing. But keep fucking with it since the first day I hit it. The minute that you talked, I would listen. You made the way that I walk a little different. I like your vibe, like the way that you feel. Your hairstyle from the start, now you're paying my bills. I gotta love it. Yeah, I'm a little obsessed, and I'll confess without you I feel a little depressed. The wife's head is sick of me giving you my attention. Really, I see a point, but it was never my intention. I'm always talking and bragging you up like, yo, check this, is she amazing or what? And the fatter that you get, the better, I can't complain. The mistress in my life, music before the fame, I love
Girl
it.
knows that you're always on time. And the minute she's gone, you're chilling just fine.
Are you downsizing? maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again.